Good morning, Spartans. Welcome back to another vector easel tutorial. This one is with Adobe Flash CS3. We are going to find out how to use a mask in Flash. Okay, so you'll start off with a Flash file, ActionScript 2.0. There you have it. And as you know, we have a stage size of 550 by 400 pixels with a white background. This is the default settings. Alright, first thing we want to do, we're going to go ahead and type out our name. So I'm just going to quickly do that. I'll just type out my my last name. I want to get it a few characters long. And while it's still selected, I'm going to go ahead and go to my properties panel below. Increase that to its preset 96. That's the maximum preset. Of course, you can manually type in a larger amount. You can also take your black arrow, make those adjustments by taking your free transform tool, stretching it out this way. I'm not going to worry so much about keeping its proportion, but I do want to make it large enough to stretch out onto the stage. Okay. From there, we're going to go ahead and break this apart. And we do that with the shortcut command of Control B. And as you see, each letter now becomes single objects, single letters. Now each one of these is still editable. You can take one, and if you need to, you can change the font. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to select them all, and then I'm going to go ahead and right click this and choose Distribute to Layers. After you do that, you will see each layer or each letter becomes its own layer, and as a convenience, it names itself. As you can see, each letter has been labeled on each layer here in order of that word, in this case my last name. Now the layer 1 that used to have my full last name on it has created an empty keyframe, so that just means nothing's on it. So if I were to take all the visibility off those layers below, you'd see that it's just an empty keyframe. I'm actually going to use that layer. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and choose all of these again, and I'm going to just go ahead and do Control B one more time. I'm going to break it apart, and doing that reduces each of these objects as a raw object. It's no longer an editable type. Okay. It isn't a necessary step, but this is something I want to do, and you'll find out later why that's a necessity. Some other unit that we're going to work on, but it's good habit to Control B twice. Again, do it first time, then distribute to layers, and then do it a second time. Okay. Now, I'm going to go up to layer 1. I'm going to call this mask, and then I'm going to just put the letter D after it. That way I know it's associated with the layer below. I'm going to go to the next layer down. I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to pause my video here to save some time, and I'm just going to go ahead and do all those layers the same way. And I'll be right back. Okay, so as you see, I have all those layers named. What I did was I went in between each letter. I went to a letter, added a layer above it, and called it mask, and added that letter that it's associated with. Okay, so I have all that. It's all ready to go. And so I'm going to go back up to the top. And again, you see that each one of those masks layers has an empty keyframe, and that's what you want. But we will be adding a keyframe to it. Okay, so in Mask D, what I want to do is I want to take a rectangle, okay, and the color of the rectangle doesn't matter, but I do like to make sure the stroke is off. So I put a slash through the stroke, and I'm going to go ahead and even though the color doesn't matter, I'm going to make them black just so it is different from the actual letter face. Okay, so for the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this tiny or short rectangle, but as you see, the width is approximately the same width as the letter D. Matter of fact, you want to make it slightly bigger, okay? Because the key here is to make sure that it's going to be covered. Ultimately, that's what's going to happen. But that's on the first keyframe, as you see, associated with frame 1 there. I'm going to come down to layer 50 because I don't want my movie to go too quickly. I'm going to keyframe it again, F6, okay? And of course, since none of the other layers are longer than one frame, everything will disappear on frame 50 except for the layer that we're on. So that I can see the layer below it, layer D, I'm going to go to that last frame right underneath that other one, and I'm going to do F5. F5 will just give me an open frame. Okay, now going back to that keyframe directly above there, as you see it's selected, I'm going to take my free transform tool, and then I'm going to grab that bottom center handle and drag it all the way to the bottom. We want it to cover that letter D below as it's doing right now. Okay, so as a review, mask D layer, keyframe 1 has a short rectangle, keyframe 50 has one rectangle covering that letter D. We are going to then shape tween between 1 and 50, so get your cursor somewhere in between that span, between those keyframes, right click it and choose create shape tween. You can then see as you scrub along the timeline that rectangle tweens and grows gradually. Okay, now in order for it to be a mask, just calling it a mask doesn't make it a mask, but we are going to use that mask layer. We're going to right click now and we're going to choose mask. And so what happens when you do that, you will see first that the little icon here takes on this greenish diamond shape icon, and then you can see the layer below associated with that mask. It quickly indents itself, and that should tell you that it's part of that mask. It also locks the layers. You notice both layers have locks, okay? This gives you a sense of how it's going to look. So if I scrub through, you can see that mask, remember I said the color of that rectangle didn't matter, because you can see, because it's now a mask layer, that mask itself is hidden, okay? And it sort of does the opposite of what you might think it will do. It's hidden completely in the beginning, but then it reveals that layer below as you scrub through, okay? So that's kind of a cool effect. You could do Control Return to preview your movie, but I don't usually do that until the very end. So scrubbing is all I need to do. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to all the other layers, all right? But I'm going to pause the video, and I will come right back. Okay, I finally reached the last letter, and so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm that first frame of mask I, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that rectangle above, and I'm going to take my cursor, place it in the last frame, and hit F6. I need to see the layer I below, so I'm going to go to the final frame and do F5. Okay, I'm going to go to the keyframe above and just drag it down. Okay, and then let me see, there we go. And then I'll go ahead and right click, create that shape tween, and looks good. Now I'm going to right click mask I and choose mask. And now I'm going to scrub and see what I got. Now, you can tell, I'm scrubbing slowly, but you can tell that the mask gets does different things depending on the letter. And so you can see that the D drags down, the I also drags down. Actually, the D drags up, the I drags down, the C goes off to an angle. Okay, so they're all kind of doing something different. So if I reveal what's happening here, you can see where I did that first keyframe on all those little letters. Okay, and then if I go to the last keyframe, you see how it covers it up, right? So as I scrub, you can tell. Okay, I'm going to put the locks back on. Again, having the locks on will show you that preview. Okay, now they're all revealing themselves at the same time. But what if I want them to reveal themselves at different intervals, at different points along the movie? Well, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take letter D, and, well, actually, I'm going to keep letter D where it is, but I'm going to take the letter I, and I'm going to move that down. So you can see what I did. I just dragged to highlight that section of layers, and that's the letter I. See, now the I doesn't reveal itself until right around here, 15th frame. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to the others. And they don't have to be in order. So I could put letter O right here on frame 10. I can move this one way down here. And I'll move the letter T way down here. Okay. And then perhaps the last letter, letter I, maybe right about there. Okay. The last thing you'd want to do is go to the very furthest point, and letter T occupies the 122nd frame. I'll just go all the way to the top here, highlight it, and then hold down Shift and highlight the last frame, and then I'll just do F5. Okay, and that will push some of those over, so I'll just highlight those last two and then remove those frames. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and do Control Return to test my movie out. And there you go. So they all sort of reveal themselves at different points in time. Okay? And then of course it'll start repeating itself. Now if I want, I could put action script on the last frame. Maybe I'll do that. That could be anywhere. You could choose any layer on the last frame. So I'll do F9. And I'll go ahead and do STOP, open close parentheses, and semicolon. F9 to close that, and let's try it again. So it should just stop right at the end of my name. Or not. Okay. And let's see what happened here. Mask C, I'll just drag that down. I do not see where that action script is. Let's try that again. Okay. F9, frame 50. Okay, looks good. Let's try that movie again. D, I, C. Keep going. Alright. Well, I'm guessing that the action... there it is. There's the action script. Okay, so I'll just delete that and try again. Oh, I have to keyframe it first. So let me do F9. Sorry, F6. And then F9. And hopefully we will have success because I'm running out of time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, looks like it appears to be working. And it should stop. Thank you. 20 seconds to spare. Alright guys, hope this helps.